Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fundamental for any business, whether it's tiny or massive. We're talking about communication.
That's right, and we're diving into part one, communication in business, from Unit 2, people in business. Specifically, Chapter 16, the importance of good communication in business.
Exactly. And, this isn't just about ticking boxes for an exam.
Not at all. Understanding communication is like understanding the nervous system of a business. It's what makes things actually happen, how ideas move, how goals get achieved. It's super practical stuff.
It really is. And just quickly, for anyone wanting to dig deeper or review things later, you can find loads more resources over at www.igcec-business.weebly.com.
Good point.
So our mission today is to really unpack the different kinds of communication, the different ways businesses do it, and crucially, look at the pros and cons. We want you to walk away understanding why it all matters, not just, memorizing lists.
Well, let's get started then.
Okay, so the absolute basics first. When we say communication in a business context, what are we actually defining?
Well, at its heart, it's about sending and receiving information. Pretty simple idea, right?
Sounds simple, yeah.
But there's a process. Usually, you have a sender. That's the person or entity with the information to share. Think of someone applying for a job. They are the sender.
Okay, the job applicant. Got it.
Then you have the message. That's the information itself. In our case, it's the job application, the CV,
Yeah.
the cover letter, maybe.
The content.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that message needs to reach the receiver, the intended audience. So maybe the personnel manager reviewing the application.
Sender, message, receiver. Makes sense. But how do we know it worked?
That's the critical part. Feedback. It's the receiver's response. It tells the sender, yep, got it, understood, or maybe, I need more info. So if that manager emails back saying, come in for an interview, that's feedback, positive feedback.
So feedback closes the loop.
It does. But there's often something else in the way. It's something we call noise.
Noise, like actual background noise.
Sometimes. But in communication theory, noise is anything that interferes with the message. It could be a bad phone line, yes, but also confusing jargon in an email, cultural misunderstandings, even just being too busy to read something properly.
Ah, I see. So it distorts the message.
Precisely. And that's why feedback is so important. It helps you check if the message got through all that potential noise accurately.
That's a really good way to put it. Like ordering food in a noisy cafe, you say, no onions. But if the server doesn't confirm or mishears because of the clatter...
You end up with onions.
Yeah.
Exactly. That confirmation, that feedback is key to making sure you get what you intended. Every step matters.
Okay, so we've got the basic process. Now, how does this information actually, flow inside a business? I hear terms like vertical and horizontal channels.
Right. Think of it like pathways. Messages don't just float around randomly, or at least they shouldn't. First, you've got downward communication.
Downward, so top to bottom.
Exactly. Information flowing from managers down the hierarchy to their subordinates. Instructions, policies, company news, targets.
Like a manager telling their team about new safety procedures or setting sales goals for the month.
Perfect examples. It's essential for leadership, for direction. It allows decisions made higher up to be actually implemented. Without it, people wouldn't know what to do or why. And, good downward communication isn't just telling people things, it's explaining the why behind it. Helps with buy-in.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so if that's downward, what about the other way? Upward communication.
That's the flow from bottom to top. Workers providing information, feedback, suggestions, or reporting issues up to their managers.
So like an employee suggesting a better way to organize the stockroom, or maybe a team giving sales data back to their manager.
Exactly. This is incredibly important. It helps managers understand what's really happening on the ground. Are there problems? What do staff think? It also makes employees feel heard and valued, which boosts morale. Plus, it gives managers vital information for making better decisions.
Right. It avoids managers being stuck in an echo chamber.
Precisely. Now, we've done up and down. There's also sideways.
Sideways.
Horizontal communication. This is communication between people or departments at the same sort of level in the hierarchy.
Okay, like the marketing manager talking to the sales manager about a new promotion. Or maybe designers collaborating on a project.
Spot on. It's all about coordination, teamwork, sharing information between peers or parallel departments. It helps different parts of the business work together smoothly, prevents duplication of effort, solves problems collaboratively. Very important for day-to-day efficiency.
Okay, let's unpack this. So it's not just what you say, but where it goes and who it's between. Downward for direction, upward for feedback and insight, horizontal for coordination.
Those are the main internal flows.
But wait, communication isn't only inside the business, right? Businesses talk to customers, suppliers, the public.
Absolutely. That's a key distinction. What we've just discussed, downward, upward, horizontal, that's all internal communication. It happens within the organization. Think board meetings, team briefings, internal memos.
Okay, so the other type must be
External communication.
Yeah.
This is any exchange of information between the business and people or organizations outside it.
like what? Give me some examples.
Oh, loads. Advertising campaigns, press releases, customer service calls, emails to suppliers, annual reports for shareholders, market research surveys asking the public questions, even sending a sales report to an external finance director, like in that Elmart example we have. It's how the business interacts with the outside world.
Right. Internal keeps the engine running. External connects it to the wider environment. Makes sense. Now, what about the feel of the communication? Sometimes it's very official. Sometimes it's just chat.
Ah, yes. The difference between formal and informal communication.
All right, tell me about formal first. Sounds like suits and ties.
Sometimes, maybe. Formal communication uses the established, recognized channels within the business. It follows the organizational structure, the official hierarchy. Think official company reports, scheduled meetings with agendas and minutes, formal letters, presentations approved through proper channels. There's usually a record. It's official.
Structured, documented, approved. Got it. So informal is everything else.
Pretty much. Informal communication is often called the grapevine. It's the unofficial network. It doesn't follow the org chart. It happens in hallways, during coffee breaks, between friends at work, maybe through social clubs, or even just rumors spreading.
The grapevine. I've heard that can be both good and bad.
Definitely a double-edged sword. On the plus side, it can actually help build relationships, foster a sense of community, and sometimes information travels really fast through the grapevine, faster than formal channels. It can also give managers a feel for the real mood or concerns of the staff.
But the downside?
The downsides are significant. It's prone to gossip, rumors, and misinformation. What you hear on the grapevine might be inaccurate, incomplete, or just plain wrong. It can create confusion if it contradicts official messages, and it can damage morale if negative rumors spread unchecked. You can't really stop it, but good formal communication can help manage it by providing accurate information promptly.
So we've got the process, the directions up, down, sideways, internal versus external, and formal versus informal. Phew. Why does mastering all this stuff actually matter for a business? What happens if they get it wrong?
Oh, the consequences can be huge. Really significant. Poor communication isn't just, a bit annoying. It can genuinely hurt a business badly.
How so? Give me the big impacts.
Okay, first off, mistakes. Simple misunderstandings lead to errors. Maybe unclear instructions on a production line mean faulty products get made, or a wrong order gets processed because the details weren't clear.
And mistakes cost money, I assume.
Absolutely. That leads straight to wasted resources and costs. Time spent, fixing errors, materials scrapped, projects redone. It all hits the bottom line. It's incredibly inefficient.
What else?
Slow decision-making. If information doesn't get to the right people quickly, or if it's inaccurate when it arrives, managers can't make timely decisions. They might miss out on a market opportunity or react too slowly to a competitor's move.
And the people inside the company, how does bad communication affect them?
It can really damage staff motivation and morale. If employees feel confused, uninformed, ignored, or unsure what's expected of them, they get frustrated, disengaged, productivity drops, and you might see high staff turnover, people leaving because they're fed up with the poor communication.
That sounds draining. And what about how the business looks from the outside?
Huge impact there, too. Poor communication can seriously damage the company's image and reputation. Think about terrible customer service experiences, maybe a wrong online order, and then getting the runaround trying to fix it, or a confusing product launch. Bad news travels fast, especially online, and it can really harm how customers, potential employees, and investors see the company.
Wow, so it really touches every part of the business. It's like trying to build something complex without a clear blueprint or anyone talking to each other properly.
Exactly. It's foundational. Disaster is almost guaranteed if you don't get it right.
Okay, this really drives home the importance. So, how do businesses communicate? Let's get into the specific methods now. This is where it gets really interesting, comparing the different tools they use.
Right. Let's start with the most basic, perhaps. Face-to-face communication. Just people talking directly to each other, in person.
The original method, What are the big advantages here?
Well, the main one is immediate feedback. You can see reactions instantly, ask questions, clarify misunderstandings right there and then, no waiting.
That back and forth is key.
It is. It also tends to encourage cooperation. Talking directly helps build relationships, trust. You can read body language, tone of voice, which adds richness. It's often great for generating new ideas, too, like brainstorming sessions. And in many cases, it can actually save time compared to rounds of emails or memos. Think job interviews, team meetings, training sessions.
It makes sense. But it can't be perfect. What are the downsides of just talking?
True. One big one is that negative body language can be a barrier. If someone looks bored or frowns or crosses their arms, it can send a message, maybe unintentionally, that undermines what's being said.
I can see that. Like someone saying yes, but looking completely unconvinced.
Exactly. Also, face-to-face chats can sometimes include non-relevant information. Conversations can drift off topic, which might be nice socially, but can waste time in a business context. And finally, there's a practical limit. You can only effectively talk to a certain number of people at once.
Okay, so face-to-face. Immediate, good for rapport, but potential for misinterpretation through body language and limited reach. What about written communication?
Written communication offers different strengths. Things like letters, which are quite flexible, can carry an official weight and provide a record. Or reports, which are usually for more detailed, complex information, often based on research or analysis.
And the big advantage seems to be
The permanent record. This is huge. It's there in black and white, good for legal reasons, for referring back to later, for auditing. You can prove something was communicated.
very important for accountability.
Definitely. It's also generally better for conveying complex and detailed information. People can read it carefully, at their own pace, reread sections if needed. Try explaining a complex technical process verbally versus providing a clear written guide.
Good point. And you can send it to lots of people easily.
Yes, written communication, especially now with digital distribution, can reach a very wide audience quickly and efficiently.
Okay, sounds good. But the drawbacks, I'm guessing feedback is slower.
That's the main one. There's usually a lack of immediate feedback. You send the letter or report, and then you wait. Could be hours, days, weeks. This delay can be a problem.
And it feels less personal, maybe?
It often is. It can be quite impersonal. It's harder to convey tone, warmth, or enthusiasm in writing compared to speaking. Misunderstandings about tone can happen easily. And let's be honest, preparing good written communication, especially detailed reports, can be very time-consuming.
Right. Takes effort to get it clear and accurate. Okay, this is a big one today, right? The digital world. Let's talk electronic communication. So many options now.
Oh, absolutely. This has transformed business communication. Let's start with email.
Ubiquitous now.
Pros and cons of email.
Pros. It's fast, often instant delivery. It's cost-effective. You can easily attach documents, images, links. Creates a written record, too, usually. Cons. Emails can be easily ignored or lost in a crowded inbox. You get junk mail, spam, there are security risks, viruses, phishing, and sometimes the sheer volume is overwhelming.
Okay. What about using the internet and websites more broadly? Websites are incredibly versatile. Pros. Businesses can market products globally, 204/7. They can provide detailed information, gather customer data through forms, advertise job vacancies, research suppliers, offer online support. The reach is potentially huge. Cons. You obviously need an internet connection. There's the cost of design and maintenance. And again, major security concerns, data breaches, hacking.
We all have mobile phones in our pockets. How do they fit in business cons?
Mobiles are all about immediacy and portability. Pros. Quick texts or messages like SMS or WhatsApp. Sending photos or short videos easily, making quick calls from anywhere, very convenient. Cons. Not great for long or complex messages. The small screen can be limiting, and they can be very intrusive, that expectation of being always available.
Which brings us to social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, WhatsApp, huge platforms. How are businesses using these?
Increasingly central for many. Pros. Fantastic for engaging directly with customers, building brand awareness, running targeted advertising, getting instant feedback, sharing quick updates. The potential reach is massive, billions of users globally, like the Chocolate example showing huge user numbers. Cons. Things that could go wrong very quickly. Negative comments or a PR mistake can spread like wildfire and badly damage reputation. It requires constant monitoring and content creation. Information overload is also a risk for users.
Wow, high stakes there. What about communicating securely inside the company electronically?
That's where intranets come in. These are private, internal company networks. Pros. They're secure, accessible only by employees. Provide a central place for company news, documents, policies, collaboration tools, ensures everyone have access to the same up-to-date information. Cons. They're purely internal, so no use for external communication. They require technical setup, investment, and ongoing maintenance.
And for meetings when people aren't in the same room.
Video conferencing and teleconferencing. Tools like Zoom, Teams, etc. Pros. Saves huge amounts on travel time and costs. Allows people in different locations to see each other, video, picking up on some visual cues like face-to-face. Enables immediate discussion and feedback. Cons. Heavily reliant on good, stable internet connections. Technical glitches can be really disruptive and frustrating. Can sometimes feel less personal than being physically present.
Any other electronic methods worth mentioning?
Well, for specific situations, you have things like public address, PA systems, think tannoy announcements in a factory or supermarket, and electronic notice boards displaying messages in public areas or workplaces. Pros. Great for broadcasting simple messages instantly to everyone in a specific physical location. Cons. Usually strictly one-way communication, no feedback possible, limited message complexity.
That's a huge range of tools. Does the size of the business influence which methods they use most?
Generally, yes, there's a difference. Smaller businesses often rely much more heavily on informal, face-to-face communication. It's easier when everyone's in the same space. Larger businesses, just because of their scale, number of employees, different locations, tend to need more formal systems, more written communication, and definitely rely more heavily on electronic channels like email and intranets to keep everyone connected and informed consistently.
Okay, we have covered so much ground. To help all this sink in, let's try a quick quiz. Just 2 questions. You ready?
Let's do it. Okay, question 1, adapted from the source material. Which of the following is an example of external communication? Is it A, sending a customer information about a special offer, or B, a departmental staff meeting?
Okay, take a second to think. What's external?
All right, the answer is A, sending a customer information about a special offer. Why? Because the customer's outside the business.
Yeah.
The departmental meeting is purely internal.
Nice one if you got that. Okay, second and final quiz question.
Which of the following is a disadvantage of face-to-face communication?
Yeah,
Is it A, it allows immediate feedback, or B, negative body language may create a barrier?
A disadvantage this time. Think about it.
And the answer is
Yeah.
B, negative body language may create a barrier. Immediate feedback is a major advantage of face-to-face.
Sure.
But, as we discussed, those nonverbal cues, like a frown or looking away, can definitely hinder the communication. That's a drawback.
Excellent. Hope that helped to reinforce some key points. And that really brings us towards the end of this deep dive. We've gone through the whole communication process, the flow, the different types, and really picked apart the pros and cons of all those methods.
Yeah, and the key takeaway, I think, is that understanding all this isn't just academic knowledge. It is a core practical skill for anyone in business or hoping to be. Getting communication right affects productivity, morale, reputation, costs, pretty much everything. It's the lifeblood.
Couldn't agree more. It truly is fundamental. And just to leave you with something to think about, as technology keeps racing ahead, AI, new collaboration tools, all sorts of things. Here's a final thought. How do you see business communication changing even more in the next, say, 5 years because of these technologies? What new challenges or maybe amazing new opportunities might pop up?
That's a great question. The landscape is definitely evolving fast, something to keep an eye on.
Definitely. Well, we really hope this deep dive has given you a clearer picture and a solid grasp of this vital business topic. Remember, for more resources and to explore further, head over to www.igce-business.weebly.com.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes! Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.